Hello, it's Mr. eTutor here again, your mystery tutor at mysterytutor.com, and welcome to video module 1-7. This module is going to be a brief overview of the SAT. We want to talk especially about the SAT's role, its function in society, and how that will impact the way that you want to approach the test. It's very important that you understand something right from the beginning. The SAT exists for one purpose only, and that purpose is to rank the people who take it against one another. That's the only reason the SAT is around. The SAT doesn't tell anybody anything about how much you know, how good you are at anything, except how good you are at taking the SAT as compared to the other people who also take it. The SAT is a product. We have to remember that. It's a product created by the College Board and provided to colleges. The SAT only exists because colleges find the data from the SAT useful. If they ever found that data to stop being useful, the College Board would no longer exist. It would no longer have a product to sell that anybody would want to buy. So let's think about that. The SAT only exists because colleges like it. And the only reason that colleges like it is because it's always the same thing. This is a really, really important thing for us to understand. If the SAT changes, it dies. It must be exactly the same every single time it's given. If it were different, say for example, if you took it one day in October and the math section was only about calculus, and then your friend were to take the test in June and the math was only algebra and trigonometry. If that were to happen, the scores from the two test dates would no longer be comparable, and colleges would not be able to rely on that data or use it to plan who should be admitted, who should be rejected, who should be waitlisted. The SAT only exists because it can provide reliable data for colleges to use. This means, as we keep saying, that the test must be the same every single time it's given. Now think about that. What would be the easiest way to test exactly the same thing every single time the test is given? Well, the easiest way to do that, of course, is for the College Board to use exactly the same questions word for word every single time the test was given. They're not going to do that, of course, because if they did, people would start to remember the questions, they would tell their friends about them, and after a few years, everybody who went into the SAT would already know every question in advance, and they would get everything right. The College Board would really be in trouble then, because if everyone gets a perfect score on the SAT is useless for a totally different reason. The SAT, again, only exists to rank students. If everyone makes perfect scores, there is no ranking. So the College Board is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. And we're going to see this very often when we talk about the College Board's motivations. On the one hand, they'd like to do one thing. On the other hand, if they do that too well, there's no reason for them to exist anymore. So the College Board's compromise here is to use different questions, not exactly the same questions every single time, but to standardize those questions so that the questions can still test exactly the same skills without actually using exactly the same words. In other words, the College Board has found a way to make the SAT exactly the same every single time without making it exactly the same every single time. The standards that the College Board uses to design the SAT are very, very strong and very strictly enforced. We'll talk about those standards throughout the other module. But you must understand, the key to beating the SAT is realizing that every single SAT test is exactly the same, even though it may not be obvious to an untrained test taker. You absolutely have to understand this, and you absolutely have to exploit it if you want to do the best you possibly can on the test. So that's my job. How do I help you exploit the standards on the SAT? By the way, you know how I keep referring to this book, the College Board SAT book, and I keep saying how important it is that you only use real questions actually written by the College Board? Well, that's because the only people on earth who actually know every single standard that the College Board designs the SAT to is the College Board itself. If you buy books from a third-party source, if you use someone else's test questions, there is no way to guarantee that those questions will follow the standards of the real test. Remember, every single thing about the SAT comes down to standards, and only the College Board knows exactly what those standards are. This is step one in understanding how to beat the test. So, thanks for listening. Move on to the next module, and remember, it's easier than you think.